Okay, we're going to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs offense, their forwards, and who to start off with, who else the number one player to start off with, but Auston Matthews. Matthews, he doesn't want to be an elite player. He wants to become the elite of elite players of all times. So Auston is going to dig deep down and ask himself, who does he want to be? Not what, but who. And I'm saying figuring out for himself what makes Auston happy. To me, it's doing 50 reps of squats in the gymnasium. But to him, it might be scoring 50 goals in the season. But I think most importantly, Auston wants to take this Toronto Maple Leafs team to the promised land. The playoffs, and then of course a Stanley Cup. And when Toronto lost to the Washington Capitals in Game 6 last season, Auston looked mad, he was angry. And that's what I like to see in a young player. You can't win all the time, but don't be afraid of making decisions. Auston just makes fantastic decisions when he's out on the ice. So finally, I want to say for Auston, and I'm going to use the Terminator theme song music, for this. Here we go. This is Matthews, Terminator. Dun 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 dun. Not every number one draft pick is a myth. Some are the real deal. Some draft picks are gifted, but they're not born. They're built. Number one players are made from ice and sweat, mind and muscle, blood and vision, and victory. Number one players are champions. They grow. They win. They conquer. There's a number one player on every team. There's a blueprint behind every number one player. He's Auston Matthews. This is his Toronto Maple Leafs blueprint. Dun 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 dun. That sounded pretty cool, right? I got all serious and emotional and pretty Terminator epic there. That could be a movie trailer voiceover. You never know, like a Toronto Maple Leafs movie. Coming soon to a hockey rink near you. So moving right along, I got to take a water break here. Of course, it's who's next, but William Nylander. This guy has fantastic flow. His hair. And I wonder what kind of shampoo and conditioner he uses, but whatever it is, it's fantastic. Anyways, in terms of what I expect from Willie, is that he's got a fantastic wrist shot, and he's a playmaker. He can pass that puck around pretty good, and I think he can score 30 goals in a season. And that's like 30 reps. And usually we do 10 reps of everything. So that's like 3 sets of 10, which is pretty basic, but still fantastic. Zach Hyman is next. Hyman, I think this guy should just keep doing what he's doing. Because, Matthews and Nylander will take care of the goal scoring on this line. He does the construction work. Hyman, he's always digging pucks out of the corner, causing trouble in front of the net. Just being a fantastic force out there. And, Hyman just knows his role. He scored 10 goals last season. And, I know we do 10 reps of everything, which is pretty good. But if he could score 15 or 20 goals, that could be super fantastic. But really, who cares if Matthews and Nylander get like 70 goals between themselves? That's a lot because I'm 70 years old, and but I still pump up 7 sets of the 10 reps of the biceps in the gymnasium. So Hyman, just keep pumping on that line, and you'll be fine. Gotta take another water break. Moving right along to who else? Mitchell Marner. Marner. This little guy is sneaky in the most fantastic way possible. He just finds ways to make plays. Whether it's scoring some absolutely ridiculous breakaway goal or, setting up a teammate with a no-look pass. He's got fantastic hands. But he needs to eat his protein. So Mitch, as a dietary recommendation, especially for you, listen up. Protein shake for breakfast. Protein shake at lunch. Protein shake at dinner. Protein shake before the game, very important. And of course, very important, protein shake after the game. Then you can relax it a bit and, and go to bed and sleep and all that. And then wake up in the middle of the night and dream of protein and take a protein shake at around 3 a.m. Really, that's all you need to do, Mitch. That's all I have to say about MARNER. Moving along to James Van Riemsdyk Yehal, also simply known as JVR. This guy has got some pretty hands too, especially around the net. With that crazy, through the legs flip shot type of thing he does, But JVR, he just needs to be consistent and not go on some crazy long drought of not scoring any goals, That's like going several meals without protein. It's a big no-no. No, JVR, no, stop it. You can't do that. Get your protein and score your goals on a consistent basis. Okay, I got to calm down a bit here because I'm getting to Tyler BOZAK Yehal, and Bozy is an oldie on this Toronto team now, I think he's 31 years old, which is still young, but it's just old on this team. But, he's a solid NHL veteran now. He's good on the face-offs, and he just makes intelligent decisions, and he's a real good pro, as Coach Mike Babcock would say. Okay, important water break before we get to these next guys. NAZEM KADRI Yehal. KADRI, oh, this guy plays on the edge, and if Naz can throw a big hit, he'll do it. And he draws so many penalties. It's like he's taunting the other team, like, when I taunted the Predator, and this is KADRI just yelling, or at least this is going on in his head, He's like, do it now, come on, kill me, I'm here, do it, come on, do it now, trip me now, hook me now, slash me now, do it. And usually, the other team does it, and they get a penalty, and we get a power play, and it's fantastic. So good for you, Naz, keep doing it. Okay, moving along to Patrick Marleau. Hell, this guy is almost as old as me. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I'm too old. But Patrick is pretty durable, Apparently, he hasn't missed a single game in like 8 years. And that's almost how long I was the governor of California, I didn't take any days off, and neither will Patrick, He's old, but like an old Terminator, he's not obsolete. Patrick will probably go back in time and still skate like a young man. And I expect him to easily put up 20 goals this season, which is 2 sets of 10 reps, But hey, maybe Patrick can surprise us and do another set and get to 30 goals. That would be fantastic. Okay, we get to Leo Komarov, the Komarov, whatever way you want to call it. Komarov. Uncle Leo is what I like to call him, He's a wrecking ball, and he just always finishes his checks, Just like me, I always finish my reps, you cannot cheat on those reps or on those checks. Uncle Leo is just a grinder, he just competes hard, and that's fantastic, and just Uncle Leo, just be careful with your visor, otherwise the referee wardrobe police will penalize you, so just be careful about that. And the final water break, as we get to the last line, Matt Martin Yehal, This is a pretty big and tough customer, he could probably fight a Predator. I'm not saying Martin could kill one, but, because only I can do that. But he could give a Predator a pretty good run for his money, Martin is a guy who definitely takes his protein shakes, and he's probably the only Toronto player whose entire diet is protein. He's an important player. He is the Terminator on this team. If a young Toronto player gets into trouble, you better believe that Matt Martin is going to come and terminate that guy on the other team. He's the Matt Martinator. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, moving along, we get to Dominic Moore. Yeah, what can I say? He's on a 1-year deal. Moore is a fourth liner, but, he's experienced, He's learned a lot of things over his career, I see him as a veteran presence on this Toronto team. Moore, he's well-made, well-priced, and well-dressed. Dominic Moore is a good Canadian man, and as Mike Babcock, the coach, would say, He's a real good pro. Next up, Eric FEHR, same deal with FEHR, he's a real good pro. And finally, Connor Brown, Brownie is a bundle of energy, he's like a pre-workout supplement. He just pumps up a line, and I think he will do fantastic things, Brownie knows his role, he's got a good work ethic, and he's a good pro, as Coach Mike Babcock would say. So that does it for the Toronto Maple Leafs offense and their forwards. I think it's going to be fantastic. They're going to score a lot of goals, and they got to learn lots of things about scoring goals. So go Leafs go, Toronto offense!